All right, let's take a crack at this. This is world building essentials and exercises. This is going to be a little bit of a station summary. We're going to talk about our history. We're going to talk about what we do these days and how that might change in the future. Uh, the history is simple. I wrote a ton of material on on Dresden's Tale. It's fiction and fantasy that grew out of a campaign that I was involved in. That I DM'd for a couple of years. Very successful campaign arc. Lots of fun characters, lots of fun friends, lots of fun times. Just like a D&D campaign should be. It was not D&D. It was our own system, and part of that development was developing the system. You may have heard me talk about the Pelicar game system before. If you ever happen to find one of those in print, what you're going to find is not what we ended up with. The final rules were never published, and they were much better than what we did publish. But we were young and dumb, and we did what we did. Good times were had by all. Um, I did 3 seasons. Um, these were 24 episode seasons. They cover the early part of Dresden Fane's adventuring career. He's a dwarf. He's a warlock. That's not a D&D warlock, but you get the idea. He fights a little. He swings a weapon a little. He casts a little bit of magic. Much different system than D&D 5e. Kind of. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject. Well, we're not getting into that too much detail. Uh, I did some world building along the side. I've always been a world builder. I'd say when I started the channel, I didn't really have a strong concept that what I did was even had a name, that it was called world building, but I do now, uh, and that's my primary hashtag world building. Um, so the odds and ends that I did with world building had to do with the world of Dresden's Tale. Uh, the very well developed campaign area, very unique culture, unique economics, unique government, unique everything. Uh, it was a something I spent decades on. So if anytime you see a world that is rich and vibrant and well lived in, that designer put some time into it. Or had a very cohesive team that was able to put in a lot of cumulative hours. But I think most of the time it's because of one guiding force. Uh, the station wasn't doing super great with Dresden's Tale for many reasons. First, it's a niche within a niche within a niche. I mean, it's fantasy storytelling. I'm especially not then. I'm not the greatest storyteller. I don't have the greatest voice. I've never had any kind of voice training or acting training, or hell, I don't really like getting out in front of people at all that much. It takes all the energy I've got to do stuff like this. Um, but for that and other reasons, it didn't do that well. It's still on the channel. You can go back and listen. You can pick up little bits here and there. Some episodes are better than others. The overall storyline's not bad. I mean, there's some good arcs in there, even though only a tiny fraction of the overall story was ever told. Uh, Maybe I'll get back to it someday. Maybe I won't. Um, like I said, we did some world building, and a few years ago, 2 years ago, something like that, I got back into 5e. Well, I got back into Dungeons and Dragons, mostly because I wanted to do that kind of content for the channel. I was just looking for ways to make this project more successful. And most gamers play D&D. So I have no idea what that bang was, by the way, but don't worry about it. My dog's going crazy over here. So started playing in a campaign, It lasted about 9 months, and it kind of fell apart. I mean, let's face it, most campaigns fall apart. But in the wreckage, I started running my own 5e campaign, and I wasn't real good with the rules, but I'm good with running games. Even you don't have to know the rules once you've been playing for as long as I have. It helps. I know the rules more now than I did then. Um, so with the station, that's the important part. I pretty much gave up on Dresden's Tale. Got into a world building project that was Dresden's Tale related, the Silver Sentinels. I never finished that. I probably should. It's mostly written. I've got 5 or 6 more episodes that, I would just have to record and I'd be good, but we'll see. I started doing more and more world building stuff. Tried to do shorts. They helped here and there. Did 1 minute world building for, I don't know, 50 episodes maybe. Kind of neat stuff. Just my own take on different aspects of world building. Nowadays, what I do now is mostly world building. Some of at least half my videos, I'd say, are just expressly world building videos. They have to do, some people, the kind of stuff that some people find super boring. How to use different biomes, how to develop them, how to create plots inside them, how to make things interesting, how to put all the aspects of a world together and make it as deep as you can stomach. Ultimately, the job of a world builder is never done. There's always another layer that you can add on to it. Between the natural world and civilization and culture, the weather, the gods, the magic. And there's so much, and how everything interacts, and all the different factions, and how the sub factions, and how everything relates to everything else, and then how it grows over time. Because you don't just take a snapshot. You're filming a movie, and I don't just like covering a few weeks or months in a campaign. I like, for the most part, I like going through a few weeks or months in a session. That doesn't always happen, and it shouldn't always happen. But I that's my idea of pacing. But that's up to you. You do you. So yeah, I mean, if you've never seen another episode, another video of mine, we're doing stuff, world building lakes, world building islands, world building mountains, stuff like that. And lately, I've been deep diving more. If I've just done, for instance, I just did a few months ago, I did world building medium islands. And I've spent about 6 videos on a specific island as an example. Now, not all of those are directly related to world building. I've used this as a catalyst for, how to develop campaign arcs, how to plan for session 0, and I did it within the setting of this island. And I like that. I'm going to keep doing that kind of thing. Honestly, you can never have enough how to prepare videos, and how to be a new DM video. I mean, the more ways, the more people saying it, but even just myself, the more ways I say it, the more what I'm trying to relate gets out. Because it's, listen to anybody's video. It's you can't siphon this stuff down into a short video, and nobody's going to watch a 3-hour video on how to do this or that or the other thing. At least not enough people to make it worth doing. I have done some long videos. I did an hour-long video on how to run a combat encounter, and that's got its own playlist. You can watch the hour-long video. I also broke it down into a crap ton of shorts. So if you're just looking for certain stuff, you watch those shorts. I'm proud of that playlist. That was a really good series. Uh, I have found that the more in depth I go, the less superficial I go. Tends to be my more successful videos. I'm gonna keep doing that. Yeah, there's got to be fluff, uh, and a lot of time that fluff is setting up for more in depth material. One of my well, no, not one of my, by far my best video was talking about how to run an economic campaign, and introduced an economic system for player investment, and how they might interact with the business world on more than just on more than a superficial level. uh, I'm going to do a follow-up on that. I'm going to do how to run economics on a kingdom scale. uh, I've had several comments on that first economic video, and I know I'm way off script here, uh, but players that aren't just running their own little economic concerns, but have become. It's fairly normal in a D&D campaign to become a sovereign, right? To become a king, to become, head of a government area, whatever you want to call it, a tyrant, a president, whatever. It's pretty normal. Um, and I'm gonna I'm gonna I already have the system. I just need to figure out how to put it into words. But anyway, that's just one video out of many. Um, I have a lot of niches that I work in now. Primary thing is world building, but we also do 5e rule stuff. We do random encounters. Uh, we do character development, where I basically build a single character out of the 2024 rules. We've done about 4 or 5 of those. Um, you're probably seeing a ton of cosplay Comic Con videos right now, mostly shorts. Um, I like going to conventions. The bigger, the better. I've been going to conventions off and on. Oh, there was this little. There was a hotel in Tulsa called the Camelot, and the hotel had it looked like a castle. I mean, vaguely, it had the architectural. I don't know. It looked a little bit like a castle, and they did a convention back in the day, and that was the first one I went to, probably in '87, something like that, 1987. Um, but I I went to a lot of conventions when we released our game in the Oklahoma City, uh, all through Oklahoma and Kansas and Arkansas. I don't remember if we went down into Texas on that run. It didn't really last that long. We went to Gen Con in 80, nope, in 90 something or other, 96, maybe. I don't know. Uh, then when I was in Galveston about 10 years ago, I did a lot of the local conventions, Comic Palooza in Houston. Massive freaking space. I mean, you talk about a huge area, almost too big. I remember the space between rows. I went as a vendor a few years. The space between rows, it was hard. It was easy for people passing by to escape the salesman, like the people working the booth. Try to avoid eye contact, avoid conversation. I mean, you could drive a car between these aisles. And then I was just at Comic Con, and it's tiny. I mean, you got room for 3 people abreast, and they're not fighting with long swords. But anyway, that is one of my niches. Those always go into their own playlists. Usually it's cosplay shots, and there's some other stuff mixed in there too. If you're here for those videos, I appreciate it. I appreciate any subscriptions you give me. I realize it's a little bit of a trap. You see cosplay and you think, oh, it's a cosplay channel. Then you go back and look, it's like This guy doesn't do cosplay. He's a world builder. He plays D&D. What kind of weirdo is he? Stick with me, don't stick with me. It's up to you. So far, the station's just doing what it's doing. We've had a successful, last 12 months, and I hope that continues. And if you are part of the people that are joining in just for one of my smaller uh, areas of work, thank you. But, do what you got to do. The future. Um, I am messing around with uh, trying to do more for the campaigns I'm involved in as far as content there. I know people like that kind of thing. I am running a online session, uh, the Moondor Chronicles, that will eventually be a podcast. Um, it's a work in progress, so it's going to be a while. Uh, it has some promise. It has a lot of promise. Uh, we that are involved are not exactly amateurs in our fields. You know, the rest of them are like me in their own specialties. I'm not a professional because I'm not getting paid, but I've been doing this a long time. So, and it's the same for them. They're good at what they do. Um, and some of what they do is adjacent to how they make their living as well. But by the same token, we're not an experienced crew that's been doing podcasts like this. They're learning, I'm learning. But eventually, we're gonna get some episodes out, and it should be fun. And there'll be videos associated with those. Uh, One of these days, I'm gonna get onto Instagram. I don't think I'm ever gonna do TikTok. Uh, I have a Facebook that is now uh, not just for private me use. It's mostly, in fact, uh, for the station. But I mean, if you just watch the YouTube station, you're not missing out on my main content. Okay, now we're approaching 20 minutes here, which is way longer than this video needs to be. Uh, I have been hitting islands and island related material for the last several months. That is wrapping down. There are a couple of videos that I still may or may not do in that niche in that biome. Uh, but I am making April all about dragons. Now this is partly inspired by Ginny D and Pointy Hat. They did the Kraken Week uh, last year. I think they're doing Dragon Week this year. I saw something about it, and now I can't find anything. I'm doing Dragon Month. Um, they picked it. I would rather do something else, but now I've been thinking about it, and yeah, we're gonna go hard and heavy on dragons for about a month, and maybe a little bit longer, because world building isn't just about world building by biome. You can make your first concern about, okay, we're adventuring in a forest. Let's think about forests. But you can also start your campaign world by thinking about dragons. And okay, we're going to build around dragons. So I'm going to come at it from several different angles. We'll do some NPC dragons, talk about them specifically. We're going to talk about different ways that dragons can be a part of a campaign world, because there's a lot of different ways you can do it. We're going to talk about the nuts and bolts of dragons, as far as what they are capable of, how they can affect the world, how to run one in combat, how to run one. All my opinions. Everybody has opinions. But if you're watching this, you must at least care a little bit about mine. As always, this station is small. It's me. That's it. If I take a week off, the station takes a week off. If I work extra hard one week, the station gets extra content one week, which means one single comment can make so much difference. Uh, Tell me what you want. Tell me what you like. It's very easy to get a video on a comment or a survey poll. If there's some aspect that's anywhere close to what I talk about, and you leave a comment, I will get around to making a video about it. Pretty sure that's everything. Probably missed some stuff. Like I said, we're over 20 minutes now. That's way too long for this kind of video. Uh, I appreciate you guys. This station, I have fun doing it. I like putting my content out there. But without y'all, it's just, I'm just talking into dead space. Each and every one of you matters. You matter to family, you matter to friends, you matter to the people that you work with, you matter to the people that live in your apartment complex or on your street. You are part of that world. And that doesn't mean you go out and actively participate. You can be the introvert in that world. That's okay. But you're still part of it. And I like that. And the people around you like it. The world is better off with you in it. So stick with me. We're going to be nerds together. We're going to do this for a long time. I love you all very much. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. Cheers.